news, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. Strap up and get ready as we take you into the Dallas Cowboys universe. You're listening to the Skywalker Show podcast. Here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation, NFL Nation, anybody nation, right? I got my guy Foots joining me once again on a special edition of the On the Clock Draft Show. We will be reviewing the Senior Bowl week. What's up, Foots?
Yo. What's up, Sky, man? On this good Sunday. Happy to talk with you. Ready to rock, bro. Man.
Always. When you hit me up last week and said, yo, Senior Bowl recap, I said yes, immediately. Like, we got to do that because I know if it's a handful of people that really go ham at these college players, and you are one of them, and I say yes, come on in, educate the people, educate me, because I told you before on air that or off air, that's what I like to bring to this series is people that are going to educate the people, and let's do that, man. First of all, did you enjoy the game?
I enjoyed the game, man. I thought Carter, the running back from North Carolina, helped himself. A bunch of guys helped themselves, man. I think that Phil Savage and those guys do a great job of finding those guys. You know what I'm saying? And then I liked how, there were some big names, the Mac Joneses of the world, the Najee Harrises of the world. They didn't have to come. They did. They came, competed. And I thought that was awesome, man. I think that the Senior Bowl is really becoming a staple in the draft.
Yes.
And we got to remember, this year, it probably holds more weight than it trumps all now. As far as guys being able to help themselves, because right now all you have is tape, and so that's it.
Tape is king right now.
Tape is king. But if you're a team and you were able to get some of your guys on the ground there, or at the stadium, or you're turning the clock and you're able to see these guys live, and we'll talk about some of these guys.
Yeah.
Because especially for our team, that's they make sense.
Yeah, I think this Senior Bowl this year, like you said, is even of more importance due to the COVID situations. Not being able to really be on the practice fields during the season at some of these campuses, or even going to some of these games, or being able to talk to people that are close to them because of these restrictions of being on campus. Whereas Matt Rule and who was the other one, Brian Flores, are right there coaching these seniors, right? These guys that have played for 4 years and that are coming out to showcase their talent. So, yeah, man, this thing is just growing and growing and growing. And I'll get more and more excited the more and more we cover this thing. And you get somebody out of Senior Bowl, or 2 or 3 people that actually make a drastic impact in the NFL, and I think we could see a few players do that out of this year's class.
Think about Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go there, but yeah, absolutely.
Think about Tony Pollard.
Yeah,
think about somebody.
There's a cat that we'll bring up later in the show that I kind of wanted to ask you if he's on the mold of Tony Pollard.
Okay.
So I'm definitely going to bring that up. But let's start with one of the edge guys, and Quincy Roche. I have here in my notes, he's one of the 3 Miami products, edge rushers, coming out of Miami that have impressed this last year in the college football ranks and are looking to be drafted somewhere in the first 3 rounds of the draft. Did he improve his stock, the 6'3", 245-pound edge guy out of the U? Did he improve his stock? And let's remember, he transferred from Temple, where he was extremely productive. I mean, his numbers were nutty in Temple, and then he came to Miami and proved himself as well. How'd you think he did this week? And mind you guys, this isn't just the game. We're going to cover the entire week of the Senior Bowl.
I thought that Roche definitely helped himself. I said it on my channel. I'm going to say it to you. His play strength is special. I think that's where he has. So obviously the 3 guys, you got Phillips, you got Gregory Rousseau. Rousseau is going to get the headlines, especially from national guys. But, I consider myself underground draft guy. And, me, Vach. So we try to dig and dig for all the little things.
Right.
And I'll tell you, man, this guy, so he plays the run is good. He's going to be a guy that'll be able to get on the field because he plays the run. And in this scheme, you need player, because those ends, what happens is they get in the league and they just light. And what happens is those grown men offensive tackles washed them, tight ends washed them, and to me, as much as ends are valuable as getting after the passer, yes, everybody wants that Randy Gregory, that bendy type. You need guys who can long arm, who can play with great play strength at the point and not be giving up a bunch of yards against the run. And I think that's one thing that he does well, and he has some ability to get after the quarterback. He just I just like his attitude. I like the way he plays.
I mean, he has. I mean, I don't know how many prospects have this combination here. Over 50 tackles for loss and over 30 sacks. I mean, that's you talk about playing the run and being able to get after the passer. Those are two things that equate to that. Being able to penetrate the backfield and get a guy down back there at the line of scrimmage, and obviously getting the quarterback down. Now, a lot of that was in Temple, but he still put on some good tape at Miami. I believe he had about 4 sacks last year and over 14
4
and a
sacks
half
last year,
tackles for
in,
loss.
in a shortened year.
Shortened
too.
year. That's the thing. That's going to be the theme here with a lot of these guys. They put up really good production in a short amount of time in 2020. So yeah, Quincy Roche, where do you think Quincy could go after this week's Senior Bowl draft wise?
So
Not team,
Mobile,
but round.
Round. The buzz out of Mobile is that he's flying up draft boards because of how big he really is. His size is noticeable, and the arm length look good. I don't have the exact numbers on the arm length, but it looked good. And again, he uses his hands well, so he rushes with the plan. Some of these guys, when you're watching the drill work, and like you said, we're gonna put it all together, right, Scott? So when you're watching the drill work, you got to keep in mind there's no scheme involved there. It's kind of like get after the quarterback, rush upfield. And even the same thing with the DBs and the receivers. Most of the time, receivers have advantage and vice versa. So when you see a guy like a Roche who has a plan with his rush, who has a plan with his moves, he could stab, he could long arm, he could stab, jerk, all those different moves that he was able to put together in the one-on-ones. And then it translated to the field. I mean, he didn't have a lot of TFLs in the game, but the game is, you want to see how these guys.
Yeah. You got to be careful with the game because I think Foots, and you probably would agree here, the real work is done in the practices.
100%.
Remember, there's funky rules in this Senior Bowl game. You can't blitz, you can't run stunts, you got to run cover 1, 2, or 3. It's really funky when you watch the game. Yes, obviously getting those pop plays, those sacks and what have you, but it's really tailored to the offense. Let's just be real. And we're going to specifically talk about a lot of defensive guys, and a lot of these guys pop during practice. But Quincy was one of those guys.
Yeah, and when you talk about what round he could possibly go, mid-second.
A lot of Miami guys going in the top 100.
Oh yeah. He's going to crib into a lot of trusted scouts top 100 after this Senior Bowl showing. A couple guys are. A couple guys. We'll get to some of those guys, but he's I'm going to tell you right now, the thing that he helped himself most was motor. Rep in, rep out. There wasn't drop off. And you kind of see that on his film too. With the if I see a big TFL guy, tackle for loss guy, you got to be careful with sacks. You got to just be careful with sacks. Sometimes sacks are tricky. But when I see a lot of TFL, now I'm saying, okay, motor, he's getting after. Because again, in this league, rushers who hang around the league for a long time, JPP. I was just watching something on NFL Showtime, and he was talking about 8 years to get back. Well, the thing that JPP does really well, he plays the run with like he gets after the quarterback. He's probably like a 7 sack guy a year, maybe 7, 6, 8 sack guy a year, but he's never getting blown up in the run game, and that's huge.
He was DeMarcus Lawrence before DeMarcus Lawrence, meaning a lead in the run game, but also give you really good pass rush productivity. There's another cat that you talked about, length and being long, athletic type guy, and Jabril Cox, who I think is one of the guys that have also shot up in regards to his stock. And me and Jeff briefly spoke on Jabril Cox the other day on the show. And the more and more you look at him, the more and more I kind of admire his versatility, because at 6'4", about 230-ish, he can come off as an outside linebacker because he can pass rush a little bit, but he can also cover. And you see a guy that big Well, that tall, I should say. I mean, 230 is no slouch, but that big, that athletic, that can do pretty much a lot of different things. You like him. You gotta like him a lot. And he came out of, in my opinion, Mobile, Alabama, with his stock also rising. How you feel about Jabril Cox?
So the Cox story is interesting because, you know, he started at North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Okay. So started in North Dakota State, transferred to LSU, and it was kind of like, okay, you got a question answer right there. Can he play big time SEC football? One thing that I know about North Dakota State is, even though it's a small school, their players are very well coached. They are
Playing
very
big
well
games.
coached. They play in big games, man. So for him to be able to make that transition to LSU, and yes, LSU had a down year, but he was a bright spot. You see him dropping coverage. You see him be able to carry receivers and times when he's pattern matching, carry inside slot guys and tight ends up the field, and he doesn't look lost. The instincts are there, especially on film. Like, he sees ball, he runs to ball. Some of these guys, even on my list, they're always downhill players. Well, unfortunately, that's not the way the league is played. So when it comes to draft, you want to, and when it comes to projection, I always tell myself, I want to project what a guy, not where a guy is now, but what he's going to do for me, what he's going to do for my team. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think San Francisco did a great job of that with Fred Warner. It was kind of like undersized, but he can run. We're going to put him in this scheme and let him be great in San Fran. Same with, what's my guy, what they call him, the freak, in Indianapolis.
Leonard what's the name? Leonard. I'm having a brain fart.
He was another
Darius Leonard.
Guy. Darius Leonard.
There we go.
He actually played at 215 this year. So Darius Leonard was one of those guys as well.
Really?
It was kind of like, yeah, he played at like he dropped a lot of weight this year, just to keep up with the NFL speed. But the point is that you're projecting what these guys can be. When you look at Cox in a role, he can be a taller Deion Jones because of the hip movement. Like, when I'm watching these backers, I just want to see, can they turn? That's why guys like Dylan Moses are off my list. That's why, certain guys that are just, fly downhill guys, or the size thing or the height. Now, the good thing about Cox is he physically looks huge.
Looks the part. That's why I had to watch myself when I said he's huge. Excuse me. He's huge because, yes, he's 6'4", but he's not 6'4", 260. He's 6'4", and he moves like that athletic linebacker that we talked about before, because he is. You talked about not having just downhill guys. When I watch Cox, I feel like he can move laterally very well, and he showed that on certain tapes. Now, sometimes he got to finish better, but he still he recognizes and he goes very well laterally, in my opinion. So and that's what you really want in today's game at linebacker, because, like you said, man, it's not just line up my fullback and I'm coming up the A gap or the B gap. They're misdirecting you. So I need my linebacker to be able to be twitchy and be able to go. If he missteps one step, he can make up for it with his athletic ability.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When you talk about finish, that's a great note, Sky, because listen, I'm not as high on Surratt as the rest of the world. Chad Surratt.
A couple people are saying that linebacker. Now.
Yeah. So my thing about him is, his finish is like, if he's blitzing, it's cool if he can like get his hands on you. But now, don't get me wrong, you're gonna have to tackle in this league. You're gonna have to play with force in this league as a backer. So you're gonna have to, play behind your pads. It's still a physical game. And I don't think that Surratt just didn't do it for me in that aspect. Yeah. But with Cox, there are times, you can question his tackling, but I'm looking at the movement, and his tackling isn't bad enough. Like, he's not Nick Bolton. Like, Nick Bolton is coming to finish you, period. Like, he's going to hit you with all his might every play. That's not his game. But Cox is really smart. He's just smooth. He's smooth. He's a smooth player.
Yeah. Let's stick to the linebackers here, because this guy, you pointed him out. I think Joe might have pointed him out as well. I think he's a very interesting player. I'm intrigued to see where you have him going. And KJ Britt, the Auburn linebacker, who only played a few games this year because he messed his thumb up, I believe. But he did. He
Yeah,
was able to
injured.
recover. Yeah, he was able to recover and make it to the Senior Bowl and was voted because of practices. Because guys, listen, the practices is really where it matters. But nonetheless, the practices, he was voted as a top linebacker for the American team. But he also had a pretty good game. 5 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a pass breakup. Why is KJ Britt on your radar coming out of Alabama?
Auburn.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm sorry, Mobile, Alabama, coming out of Senior Bowl.
Oh, yeah, but I don't know. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I ain't mean it.
No,
You be on your stuff, bro. It's
cool.
all good. But because you're so crazy.
that is
chat
confusing.
box and look, the comment section will get us.
They will get you. He ain't from Alabama.
I know.
No, dog. Mobile.
Hey, bro, they will get you hard. They is. So. Another quick nugget too, Sky, that I read. He was voted by his teammates the best teammate there as well. So I don't know if scouts take that.
Did you?
And that was dope. I was like,
yeah.
wow.
If you looked at him in the pictures and the videos and things, he was a fun cat. It looked like he just was getting along with everybody. Everybody was enjoying his presence. So that doesn't shock me. I didn't read that, but just based off of hindsight a little bit and seeing the pictures and seeing the videos and reading about him at Senior Bowl makes sense. Makes sense.
Energy guy. He plays like that, and he has some grit to him, and that's what I think that teammate stuff. He was jawing a little bit. That's what Joe hit on it. And as I went back and watched, I said, wow, yeah, he really was. Here's the thing. Okay. And I gotta be fair.
Yes.
When I watch tape, I see a player that's playing downhill a lot. So as the Cowboys project, meet with, pro day him, you gotta figure out, can he spot drop? Because another thing that I noticed with him and another player that we'll get to is on passing downs, they're off the field. What are we, okay, because there are some guys at the top of the draft, JOK. For my money, I like Zaven Collins, but people don't like him in the 4-3 scheme.
He's such an intriguing player. I like him. Just figure something out. Just figure it out. Get him on the field.
That's what I'm saying. You feel me?
Figure something out.
You see? That's what we ask, Sky. But, people, they kind of mold these guys into, which is one thing I hate about sports in general. You as a team, you have a plan for them. Don't worry about the world. But anyway, that's another rant. That's another video.
No, but you pointed out Britt has to come off the field, though. I don't like that. I don't like that. If he has to come off the field in passing downs. In today's game, I don't even want to draft a cat like that.
Go watch film. He's playing downhill a lot. Now, the movement's great. The finish is excellent, and he doesn't miss tackles at the point, so that's really good. More of a second, third round guy for me. I mean, because this linebacker class is sneaky good, and people are going to like Surratt because of how smart he is.
And his athleticism.
He is. I was about to say, Surratt is one of those guys that doesn't have to come off the field. He can spot drop. He can do all those different types of things. He's kind of very Blake Martinez-ish. Whereas Britt, I just got to know that if I'm drafting a backer, I want to know, can he guard that swing pass? Can he guard the flats? And it's coming, but can you scrape over the top, trust your eyes, and get there? Because that's what teams are doing nowadays. They're trying to isolate your worst defender. That's what teams are doing.
Yeah.
We saw it happen to us all last year. That's what teams are doing.
The last 2 years. We've seen a certain player get isolated, which, I mean, it is what it is, right? But you can't be egregious at it. And no offense to 54, it was getting to that point where, you get him one-on-one with the with the running back or a tight end or a receiver, almost automatic. So I need a guy that's not going to at least be automatic too. Another cat who impressed a whole lot in the game as well, not just the plays he made, but I've seen a few plays where he just shows some pop in his hands, is Baron Browning. He is starting to creep up the board as well. I know we're saying that about a lot of these guys, but no, seriously, Baron Browning is really, in my opinion,
they are. They really are. It's a real thing.
That's what the Senior Bowl, that's what you go down there to try to do, is improve your stock. And I think the Fort Worth, Texas native is doing that. And he is another one of those athletic guys, 6'3", 240, versatile cat who can drop a little bit and who shows some pass rush. I seen him come off the edge. But what's your thoughts there on Barron coming out of this week?
So if there was a person who had probably the highest ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
that if like you maximize him, you could get a stud, is this player. I think that laterally he's better than both of the guys that I just named, and well, than Britt. Um, laterally, like it's you could end that, but it's weird because he can also rush, but then he can also like if I projected him to be like a player that could play in space and carry and guard a little bit, he's not. He wouldn't. I don't feel like he would be in no man's land. I didn't see it a lot. He was also off the field some and passing downs, but he was also on the field because they would use him as a rusher. Just go rush.
Kind of like that Sam backer a little
quarterback.
bit. He would play
Mhm.
that over, and he was meeting the tackles or the tight ends right away. I thought he was impressive at
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah. Oh no, that Ohio State defense was fun to see that they put him all over the field, and he did a great job of like he didn't look lost anywhere he was. And again, the size is real. I want to know now in an NFL scheme and in this scheme with this defensive coordinator, would they do some of those things? Because in college, when you're a better athlete than a kid from Indiana, it works.
Yeah.
But would he be able to translate? I tell you what, he had a play. There was a play, one of the first plays he had in the Senior Bowl. I think one of the first plays of the game where he stood that lead blocker up.
I know exactly what you're
pressed
talking
him
about.
out, shredded. That's NFL stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I'm probably going to play that on a playback here. I'm gonna play that play for y'all.
That's NFL stuff. And like I said, he's fun. You talking about fun to watch? He can really scoot too. I would be hard pressed. I would want to know his 3-cone, and I would want to know his 40, because if I got good numbers on him, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad, like you said, playing him as a Sam, playing him as a Will. They like to have these linebackers having position flex. I think that obviously LVE is your middle, right? So
I would hope. I mean, what more do you need to see from Jalen and LVE to know that 54 needs to not be in the middle? But we'll see.
Right. And so I would hope, like you said, but I've been surprised at crazier things. But anyway, I just say that to say Browning has a lot. He has a lot of promise, dude. Like he does some things on the field with the bendability. That I think that if you put him in space, even against tight ends, he'd be fine. He really would. If you put him in space against backs, I think he'd be fine. Because another thing that I like about him is his instincts are really good. Like his instincts are really, really good. And so that's one of those things to where it's like, what I'm trying to do with this draft, Sky, I want to get good football players. I don't care how they come. I don't care what they look like. I want to get good football players.
Yeah,
I do.
He comes off to me as you talked about his instincts, very sudden. You know what I mean? It's not like he sees it takes a long time to get there and go. It's like he sees it and he's boom. He's right on top of it. He comes off like, I feel like he could be one of those quality day 2 picks where no one's really thinking about it right now, but if put in the right situation, let's see his time too though, because if he drills well, maybe he does shoot up. But put in the right situation.
So I'm hearing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Sky.
No, I was just saying, put in the right situation, he could end up coming out of this class, say 3 years from now, like, man, that Baron Browning cat, what was we thinking? We should have took him, in the first round type of thing. Although I'm not saying he is a first rounder now. I'm just saying redraft.
The word on him is, another thing is that he is gonna run a good 40. And I'm telling you, if he goes out there and runs like a sub 4.4, I mean, excuse me, not 4.4, like a 4.5 or a 4.6. Now the conversation is gonna start looking, because I think he's gonna blow his pro day up, meaning the turn and the run ability, because you see it on tape.
See it.
Now what you're asking him to do when you get him in your building, what you ask him to do is different. That's gonna be where this team has to figure out and have a plan, and a concrete plan for these backers. Yeah. It's like, do I want? Because I think that if he runs like that and the hip turn and the flex and all that is good and you see it, he needs to be on the field. And he won't have to come off the field,
But I'm saying that about if we take any backer in the top 50 picks, right? I'm looking at it like, let them compete to get on the field. with any of those
Totally.
dudes, be it LVE, be it Jalen, don't matter. I understand that we need to also improve up front to help any backer that we have, right? Even if it's the incumbent guys, we need to be better up front. But I think it's real to say that we have a liability in coverage, and we have it's a semi liability athletically with those guys. Jalen is 6'3", 245, but he can't do what he did before his injury. He just can't. Coming downhill, like you said, he's great. If he's just coming straight down, not thinking and hitting somebody, he's actually really damn good at doing that. But if not, you see the liability. With LVE, a healthy 100% LVE, he's kind of a freak because at 6'4", 260, he can run with a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the problem is, to me, Foots, is when he's hurt, he looks like 6'4", 280, and you see it. He's just lugging around. It's like he's carrying that big old neck with him when he's trying to make a play. And at times, he's actually faster than Jalen when he's making sudden changes, which is scary. So I just don't think we have that athletic ability at the linebacker position. And you're talking about a Browning, a Cox, a JOK, right? Or I mean, we can go to the Micahs and the Boltons. These guys are way more sudden than the guys we have right now, mainly due to they just are athletes, you know, without liabilities because of injuries or what have you. But nonetheless, you don't need to. This isn't Mike Nolan's defense anymore, Foots. It's a simple defense.
No, and I think that you hit it on the head, man. I'll be honest with you. If I could get a Browning, so you're not going to get Browning in the third.
No, I don't think so.
You may not even, where you draft in the second, you would be lucky. Okay?
And it all depends what you do with your first as well, because
it all depends on what you do with your first. If you trade out of there and you want to get another second, if somebody starts getting quarterback hungry or tackle hungry, which is a real thing. If Slater's sitting there and you as a team say, and this is, you don't mind if I go off the
No.
These are all things that just, a couple things. I have no problem drafting JOK at 10. That's Foots. I think that he is a once in a lifetime player in the sense that he's violent, he's fast as hell, and he never stops playing hard. And sometimes you got to throw away measurables. Sometimes you got to throw away where somebody says you should draft a player. Sometimes you got to throw away all this stuff, because if I watch a game where he's getting his face beat in, which was against Alabama, and I still see him playing hard, I still see him doing, just amazing things. That's a football player that I want, because you're playing obviously against an all-star team in Alabama, and he still played hard. He gave his all. He flashed. I would draft JOK at 10, and my football team will instantly be better. When it comes to
Browning,
when it comes to Browning, it's gonna be different. But so if you want to move, if you wanted to move that pick, right?
Yeah.
And if you got another second or another third, and you wanted to move around, maybe you can get him in that second round. But it's like with these picks and these pieces, you got to pair the two. You get what I'm saying? So you would have to pair if you're sold on backer, then you go backer one. But you need to get the best guy that if you feel like Browning's just a projection, and you don't know what you like it, but you don't love it, then you go JOK. But if you like Slater, if you want to pair Slater and Browning, or if you want to pair a corner and Browning, I like that as well. You see what I'm saying?
What we need to do, speaking on Cowboys, is you got to have a plan.
That was a long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
No, here's what I think. I'm gonna tweak it for you. The Cowboys need to know what they're going to do at the backer position before they even get to the draft. Because do you want to stick with LVE and Jalen moving forward? No questions asked. If so, you're not taking a backer in the top 50. Not one, not two. It's just, if that's the case, because Jalen's here on his contract, you could technically pick up the 5th-year option with LVE. I wouldn't do it. But if they're sold on it, we're just speaking if they're sold on it, you're not even going to take a backer. But if you're going into this draft saying, all right, I'm sold on one of them or I'm sold on none of them, then backer has to absolutely be in play in the top 50, top 100 of the draft. And I'm not talking about be in play to sit the bench for 2 years. I'm saying be in play to play. And when you said throw away the measurables, it's funny because JOK, you really shouldn't, because he actually fits the mold of exactly what Dan Quinn was drafting in Atlanta, the 6'1", 230, 225 type of coverage backer. So, I think that Browning fits that athletic mold.
It's the way the game's being played.
It is. Cox fits that athletic mold, 6'4", 230 moves. I don't think Britt does, but I still think he'd be somebody that you wouldn't mind having on your team later in the draft. But I'm glad we kind of bunched these guys together because they all are semi-different in a sense. Where Britt is, like you said, that downhill guy. I feel like he comes off to me as a Mike, like your old school Mike. Where Jabril and Browning are kind of new school in what they can do. That makes sense?
And I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that also you got to keep in mind, I think those guys wouldn't be liability so much in pass coverage. Like JOK is not going to be a liability in pass coverage.
No, he reminds me of Dion. I hate to keep doing that because it's convenient because we have Dan Quinn, but I mean seriously, he's a freak. And the way that Notre Dame used him, a lot of people want to see more film of him being inside, but they use him as a cover guy so much, it's hard to get that film of him just lining up in the middle or what have you, because that's not the type of position he was playing.
So the Dion comparison, I'll be honest, I think he may be a better prospect. I mean, dude,
he is.
Dion, listen, JOK, man, I'm telling you, when people, he is so fast to the football. And his intentions are bad to the football. I think that's what I like more than anything. He's not there you go. It's not that he's physical, man. He's physical to be that small, and he's not really small. He's just not as big as your 1989
exactly. And Dion was drafted in the second round, and everyone is talking about JOK in the first. So technically, he is viewed as a better prospect.
Correct.
There's another cat whose stock I think is just rising out the world, kind of like GameStop stock. Like it's seriously shooting up out of this world, and you better get in now or you're going to miss out on them type thing, right? The FOMO, as we call it, fear of missing out. Don't be on the FOMO wave with Richie Grant, y'all. Don't be on it. And I brought Foots on here. What was it, about a month ago? We did our first installment of the On the Clock. And I think Richie was like the first safety we talked about. And because of his production, I had to do a little bit of homework prior, but after you talked to me about him, I said I need to do a little bit more. And I was like, whoa, how come this guy is not being talked about more? Went down to Mobile, Alabama, put on a very good performance in practices. And I think he's coming out of this Senior Bowl Foots as one of the top 3 safeties. I mean, maybe he wasn't your top 3 safety going into Senior Bowl, but coming out, I think he has a shot to be safety 1.
He has a shot to be safety 1. That's not a reach.
No.
That's not you. Let me tell you something. You're not going to get him in the second round, I don't think, by the time it's all done. And it bothers me because I wanted to see if that would be I talked myself into, like, is there a way? Because this player, first of all, I was a fan and I should have been a fan even more. I think when we spoke, it was like, I remember telling you, because I was talking to Vosh about this on his channel, was that I just didn't like how UCF used him. I liked the player. I didn't like how he was used. Around the box so much, like he doesn't have athletic ability, but when he really did. One of the things I was proud about was that I think I hit on here, he plays through the ball well, and he did it at the Senior Bowl, meaning when the ball is caught, he punches, he's scrappy, he's fighting, and he's in good position. The thing that he helped himself, so there's not a player, I don't think, defensively who helped themselves more during their practices than Richie Grant, not one. I just think he was the talk leaving the Senior Bowl, especially because safeties are so coveted. I think the safety position is now just like he's gonna have the same type of rise as the Darnell Savage, where it's like, I don't know who Darnell Savage is. He's a first round pick. Okay, so but anyway,
could be possible.
Richie Grant.
I mean, it's funny you said that about how he plays the ball. In my notes, I have in the notes, he plays the ball very well at arrival, meaning even if he's not getting the interception. When the ball arrives, whether the guy catches it or not, he's swatting, he's pulling, he's punching, he's physical on the ball, not just on the player, but on the ball. And I think that's so important at safety because if you look at speaking of Cowboys, you look at the Cowboys players aside from Donovan Wilson, who's extremely physical. But going into the season, we didn't have a guy, even if you look at the stats or the film, who did that. They weren't heady at arrival of the ball. They pretty much were catch it and try to get you down, guys. They weren't instinctual. And this cat, how many interceptions? 10?
Yeah, 10. Yeah. So the ball production, I think he was at either 8 or 10. I got to go back and look at my notes.
I know he had 6 in 1 year. So
him and Cisco had great ball production, but now it all makes sense why he's finding the ball. The instincts are well. And see, this is what I had to kind of go to war with Jeff and Vach about with their guy Gillespie. There's times where I watch film where Gillespie, I don't even know if he played. There's not one UCF tape that, like, I'll be honest, if you watch the UCF and Cincinnati game, you would draft Richie Grant in the first round. They just released it. And it just got released on YouTube. You would draft him in the first round. Sky, I don't have all 22, but it's like and it's so crazy about that tape, like being objective, he missed some plays, but it's like he's always around the ball, bro. Like he's always making, and I'll be honest, talking about moving back to my long-winded answer in your last question, would you move to 18 and draft Grant and then get a late second round? Or would you move to 19, 20? Do you feel better? We shouldn't think like this.
We would kind of. We as Cowboys fans and evaluators, we understand the importance of the safety position. I'm starting to believe as a franchise the Cowboys do not, because it's not just one regime now. This is going all the way back to 2003, the last time we drafted a safety in the top first round of the draft, and we haven't drafted one above the third round since 2012, and he was a running back in college. You know what I mean? So I listen. If I could trade down, I pick up an extra 2 picks or what have you, and still get my safety 1, 2, or 3. Who to me, Richie is, and let's be real, he's a free. He's a free that I love the term that you use. You can put on a roof. He's that guy, and we need that guy in this scheme. That's the thing. We're going to evaluate these guys as players, but then we're also going to try to see how they fit in Dallas. And Richie, to me, fits the mold of your cover single high safety to the T. He can go from sideline to sideline, and you talk about his instincts. You need that. You can't play around foots. Not in this scheme. You cannot go sign a Darian Thompson and say go back there and play. Can't do it.
No,
can't do it.
No, you can't. No, you can't. I'll be honest with you. I've been on board and I've started this bandwagon. It's like the Cowboys have to use a high resource for the position because it's the way the game is played. Yeah. Like you said, you can't just throw guys back there. Byron Jones or trying all this stuff
Xavier Woods.
Yeah, right. La Tech. I like Xavier Woods. He's just a guy, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? You need to draft. Like when I watch Richie Grant go through drill work, I'll be honest, some of his like DB stuff, it looked better than a lot of the corners.
Listen, my notes, I say I got his hips. His hips are fluid like a cornerback. He was playing better than corners. I'm like, is this the corner? Or is this the safety? This is crazy. But you want that. And it translates on the tape, on the All-22, on the broadcast version, on all that stuff. He's flying because he can flip his hips at an elite level. And I'm shocked that I just didn't, and I'm not going to say shocked because I don't get into the college lab until the end of the year. But I'm glad he was one of the guys we brought up because he popped to me. That dude is impressive, man.
Yeah, and don't get like down on yourself.
Right.
I said, what I tell you, you watch the Memphis game, he's down around the box the whole game. So I don't know if that was something at UCF where it was like they asked him to do that, but it was like, I just don't know. You know what I'm saying? I literally don't know what these, but that goes back to what we talked about in this scheme. What he showed me at the Senior Bowl, with the hashes being played, because he doesn't give up anything in the run game. Like that's another thing. He's going to be a safety that makes tackles every time.
He's physical.
Like that's his strong suit. He's going to make tackles every time. You see what I'm saying? So I just think that you'd be hard pressed to find defensively. I think a lot of guys offensively help themselves. Miners, Felton, a few of the other receivers, the Western Michigan kid, offensively they help themselves. Defensively, I don't think that anybody left helped themselves. None of the linemen,
No,
nobody helped themselves more than Grant. Just
no.
being honest.
And we're going to talk about another guy after him who was right behind him. But Richie definitely, I think, left Mobile, Alabama, not Alabama to college, as one of the better guys coming out. Now, you always mention this on Twitter a whole lot. I hope he doesn't get dinged because of his size. He's listed as 6 foot, like a buck 95. He's probably closer to 5'10", 5'11" once they do. What did he measure at, actually? I think they have to measure him. What did he measure?
I think he measured at 5'11".
Yeah, I didn't think he was 6 foot. So, but that's fine. Whatever. I don't care. Earl Thomas is 5'11". But yeah, 5'11", about roughly 195, 200 pounds. But that's the game of safety, man. This is not 2000.
Yeah.
This is not 1992. I don't need my safeties to be 6'3", 230 pounds, 225 pounds, and just bruisers anymore. I need a guy that can cover, man. And Richie seems to be really freaking good at it.
Yeah, totally. Oh man, he's the most, man. He really is, and he will stick his nose in there. He's not gonna miss a tackle. Like that's on my notes. See ball, hit ball, ball goes down.
We got a long way to
the
go,
most,
and I always tell my viewers I'm not doing a top anything just quite yet because we're still in the lab. I'm still working. Because you got a Darius Washington, right? You got Trevon.
Oh, he
Moore.
has a hive.
You
He has a hive.
Right. You got Richie. You got Cisco. So you got all these guys, but I think Richie is creeping. He's in that conversation. I don't even think it's not creeping. He's in the conversation now, y'all. I'm pretty sure Foots will have his top 5 or what have you later in the year. So definitely keep an eye on.
Yeah, we started so early.
Yeah.
That I look up. It's like, dog, it's still February. Like we got
That's
2
right.
months, 3 months to go. Yeah, we got time.
That's good. We got plenty of time to study up on these guys. And one of the guys I have to get all the way into is another cat that rose his stock. I know you're probably like, Scott, you keep saying that, but that's the truth.
That's what this show is,
truth,
right?
Man, it's the truth. That's what we want to do. We want to come on here and talk about the guys that impressed coming out of Mobile, Alabama. And Tre Brown, the cornerback out of Oklahoma, 5'10", buck 90, another little guy that I hope doesn't get dinged. But I want to ask you this before you get into his traits and whatnot. Is Tre more so a slot guy to you, or can he be a smallerish boundary?
I think he'd be a smallerish boundary because from what I saw, he was the best boundary corner there. I mean, there were a few other guys who caught my eye, but as far as staying square, not panicking, route recognition. Yes, he got beat.
He definitely did. He did. I know what you're talking about, too. The cat from one wide receiver made him look silly. I forget. Damn it. I forget his damn name. I think it wasn't.
You talking about Nico? Was it Collins?
No, it wasn't Nico Collins. It wasn't Collins. Might have been Felton, but nonetheless, go ahead.
It might have been Felton. Felton had a. We'll get to him. He had a practice. But with Tre Brown though, he just kept fighting. Kind of like the thing that I liked about Brown is that he's in your hip pocket the whole route. The only way that you're gonna beat him is by out physicaling him. But the good thing about it is in one-on-ones, if you can show me that you can compete, I think with scheme and because sometimes I'll be honest, DBs have advantages when they know when the ball has to come out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he will, just do great in certain schemes. I'll be honest, he'll do great in zone. He'll be a great zone corner. Just because of how his route recognition is just crazy.
He's quick.
He's quick, and he comes from a team that throws the ball a lot. I always tell people like, yo, when you play on the team that threw the ball a lot, you know how to recognize routes, etc. So yeah,
that's true. Yeah, man. One of the notes I had on him coming out this week was he showed a lot of his quickness in route recognition and ball awareness. One of the plays he made, I was like, how the hell did he even catch that? Like, he already was elite in sticking with the guy, elite in recognizing the play, and then I'm like, there's no way he's going to come down with this ball, but it doesn't matter because the rest of it was great, and he still caught the interception in one-on-ones, which you don't do that often in one-on-ones. Richie did that too. Richie Grant had a couple interceptions in practice where
he did.
The disadvantage is to the defensive player because you have the whole field to work with as a wide receiver, but they voted him the best cornerback on the national team, his practice mates or what have you, his teammates. So that's another guy, I think, Tre, that improved himself coming out of here. I I don't know. I don't know where I have him yet. I'm kind of going to, listen to you guys on Tre in regards to inside, outside. I don't quite know yet because I don't really know what Quinn wants to do quite yet. I know he does like bigger, corners historically, but he's also had 5'10" guys in his secondary, and I would never be upset to have a dog like Tre Brown in my secondary. I don't care how tall he is.
He's a dog. That's what he is. He reminds me of a poor man's Jair Alexander.
And I do good.
Yeah, and so, another second-round player. So all of these guys have crept into that mold, and you got to think, with no combine, this is what I mean. This is what we mean when we say no combine. When scouts can see a Tre Brown do drills versus a Patrick Surtain do drills versus so it kind of helps you paint the picture more of who can move, blah, blah, blah. When you don't have that, and there's all these differencing of opinions, boards are going to be stacked differently this year. They just are. McShay's board is not going to look like Dallas's board. It's not going to look like this person's board. It's not going to look like Dan Brugler. It's not going to look like Zerline's. It's not going to look like Mike Mayock. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And so it's one of those things that's like, good luck. You get what I'm saying? And not only good luck, but when you have a chance to go to and go to a job interview like this, you got to make the most of it.
I think a lot of these guys have done that too. All of these guys actually we talked about have done that. Now we've been focusing on mostly defensive players, and let's just I'm gonna be real with you, Foots. I really don't care too much about the offensive players early in this draft. Unless you got the guys like the tackles, right, that fall, or the Pitts, or one of those receivers. Those are kind of the obvious guys. But early in this draft, I am focusing on defensive players. Not saying they have to be taken, but I'm trying to focus my eyes on, okay, what defensive players can we take or that are standing out and make a difference? But obviously there's offensive guys down there in Mobile, Alabama. And one of those guys that I think helped themselves, that you said helped themselves, were Demetric Felton, the hybrid running back wide receiver. And this is why earlier at the top of the show I said there's a cat that I wanted to ask you, is he in that same mode as Tony Pollard coming into the Senior Bowl? Because Tony Pollard went to the Senior Bowl, improved his draft stock, played some slot, but was a running back, and got drafted by the Cowboys in the 4th round. Felton's kind of like that, 5'10", about 200 pounds, had a touchdown in the game, and they asked him to play some wide receiver. Is he in that kind of mode, or you think he's going to be strictly a running back?
I think he's going to do exactly what he did at UCLA. And the problem is that when he got to UCLA, they didn't have a plan for him. And so they just said, we're just going to put this guy on the field. We're going to throw him screens. We're going to throw him bubbles. And we're going to let him make plays. He also has return ability. Yeah. I also like him in the slot because he's not a bad route runner. I do think guys, so if you ask me to stack the, like, quote, receivers, I think that nobody held themselves more than, like, Felton, Demetric. I mean, not Felton.
What about the Eskridge guy?
Eskridge, yeah, Dwayne Eskridge, excuse me, from Western Michigan. I thought that he's like a true, like, Randall Cobb slot. If you wanted to say we need a slot, and I'm going to tell you this, because this is just Senior Bowl guys.
Yeah.
Underclassmen, Devonta Smith, all those guys, the North Carolina kid. This is a very deep receiver class again. I mean, people like say Sherrod, I don't, but it's all about differencing of opinions.
It's your preference. What kind of flavor do you want?
Dog, you're going to have some good receivers sticking around in the 3rd round again. I don't know what our plans are for Michael Gallup in the next couple of years, but I'll say this. The way the league is changing when it comes to injury, when it comes to this, that, and the third, I would not be mad late 3rd, 2nd, with that 2nd, 3rd pick. I know everybody, I don't want Cowboys fans to pigeonhole themselves into this whole draft has to be 10 defensive
yes,
players.
that's I don't want that either. Just because I said I'm focused on that doesn't mean that 11 of our picks have to be defense. That's silly. And a lot of what we're talking about now could change drastically because of free agency. That's why I always tell my viewers, when they say, Sky, who's your mock, or Sky, wait, holla at me after free agency. That will make I will know more about what this team needs.
Yeah. And I definitely, when it comes to free agency, I go to you, Joe Rod. You guys do the best job with targeting and getting a scope on who. So keep up that work, Sky, because
Appreciate that.
I'd be so locked into the draft.
Good, good,
Just
because
learning
we need
prospects.
guys like you that are locked into this draft.
I be, bro, like even I'll be honest, like Des Fitzpatrick, Louisville receiver, he held himself. Like
Yeah.
this is gonna be. It's not it like last year's draft was like one. This year's draft was like 1A when it comes to receivers.
Last year's
Because I'll
draft
be
had
honest,
fanfare, a lot of
bro, it
fanfare.
had fanfare. But I'm about to tell you something right here and now. I feel like Jamar Chase is the best receiver prospect since Julio Jones, and I don't take that lightly. And yeah, give me a drop for that.
Yeah, I'm looking
Oh,
for
I
that.
don't
I'm
know if
looking
he's about
for
to
it.
give me a
I
drop.
got you. Yeah, I was about to give you the bam.
Yeah, yeah, give me that, bro. Because guess what? I love Devonta Smith. But and Lewis Riddick would agree with me. He was doing a podcast. He was doing a live broadcast. I love Lewis Riddick.
Yeah, he's
smooth,
good.
man. And so, and he was doing a live broadcast, and he was talking about the receivers, how they're stacked. And I'm sorry, and if you have a guy who's violent after the catch, great route runner, great 50-50 ball, and is just a dog, like just a man, like people got to understand how crazy Justin Jefferson went this year. He was a two
And he was
to
too.
to Jamar Chase. He was a two.
Bam.
He was the Robin. He was the Robin to Jamar Chase. So I just want everybody. I know everybody's riding this Devonta Smith thing.
Because he
And
played.
you should. He's a great route
Because he
runner.
played. I mean,
He played.
if Jamar played, I don't think anyone is not even, no one's talking about anything. You know, but people have Smith as the wide receiver one. I think because he played. This is how good my man is. He dogged Diggs. No offense. I mean, he dogged Diggs so bad. People was like, nah, I don't want him. I don't want Trevon Diggs because Jamar Chase. And we had to say, dog, slow down. Jamar Chase did that to everybody. Like he's that
Bro, he
good.
had 20 touchdowns last year. He had 20 touchdowns. And so that's also now that segues to a whole nother point, you know. Damn, we didn't even talk about Felton. Man.
No, I mean you brought up Felton. You talked about him. You said he's a high.
I get so excited when we talk draft, bro. I love it, bro. But so guys that played, guys that didn't, Senior Bowl, no combine. How do you bring it all together? Sky, War Room, General Manager. It's very tough, bro. Because you got guys like Caleb Farley who.
Yep, Caleb and Mike. I had on Jeff's page. There was a cat over there. We had a nice back and forth. This was his stance. You know, it's lazy to say that opt-out guys make you nervous. I told him it's not about being lazy. It's just that Micah doesn't have enough experience at the position, so I would have loved to have more tape of him at that position. So him opting out makes me nervous. Similar situation with Caleb Farley. I believe he's a converted cat, and he only played a few years at the position. Great traits, great athletically, but yes, I would have loved, selfishly, to have more tape of him to evaluate him better. And we're just who we are. Imagine being paid to get that right. and all I got is a year and a half of tape of this guy because he opted out. How can that not make you nervous as a guy that if I don't get this top 10 pick right, I could be fired. You know what I mean? So that's tough. That's tough, man. Now Chase may be a little different because he's a receiver, but
I think Chase. So those was and see the problem is like you got to go, but you have to go each situation and take it for each because, like you said, the questions that people have about case by case. That's it. Because the questions that you have about a Parsons, right? Recognition. He got countered a lot. He was out of position. That falls into what you're talking about. Is like I would like to see him play and get better. Like, have you corrected those mistakes?
Right.
Because the league is on go. Like you're gonna see a new scheme every week. You're gonna see a new, and all of these guys are good. Like you're not playing Indiana. You're playing the best of the best of the best. You're playing the best quarterback. You're playing the best, even lesser guys. Like 1 week you're playing Miles Sanders. The next week you're playing Saquon. The next week you're playing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in our division, and if you're drafted at 10, it's not even about whether or not we want you to. It's not even about whether or not we want you to grow into it. You're thrown in the fire. whoever's playing at 10 is gonna play from day one.
They better.
It's like I mean, it's just like right. It's just like when I told people, like I never forget I did a round table and people looked at me crazy when I said Trayvon Diggs is gonna start. Oh, Trayvon Diggs is gonna start. Trayvon Diggs is gonna start on the outside. And it got down to it, and he was better than everybody. Yeah. Oh, the best thing that happened was him getting beat this year. And Trayvon Diggs' ups and downs this year, he's going to be a all-pro corner one day in this league.
You're getting me so hyped because now we're getting back to the pros. And his tape in the second half of the year, specifically after, like, I believe it was the Washington game. That was the last time he got, like, dog beat because he was peaking in that backfield. But if you noticed him after that, he was not doing that anymore. And that's what you want to see. You actually want to see your cornerback go through adversity because it's unrealistic that he won't. He's going to get beat by the murderer's row that he faced. But if you go and watch him in that second half and when he came back from injury even, he showed improvement mentally. And that's what you want to see. And he was a rookie. So just imagine his year 1 to year 2 leap mentally. I think he's going to be phenomenal. I mean, I think he's going to be in consideration as a Pro Bowl cornerback, maybe if not next year, sooner rather than later because he's that good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he made Dane Brugler's. I followed Dane on The Athletic. He made his all-rookie team. I just think that Trayvon will be fine, but guys like Farley, who, I mean, my questions are, I want to see him play as a press man corner, and I didn't see that enough on film. That's a real question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I would like to see it this year. Yes, he has his size is real. His length is real. You see that on film. It's not one of those things where you like question like, is he 5'10" or whatever. But
no, he's physically gifted. Yeah.
He's physically well put together, but I still got to see it, and I would have liked to know. But like you said, with Jamar Chase, I've seen enough. Like Jamar Chase doesn't have to run. He didn't have to run another route in college. I've seen enough. I've seen him be physical against good talent.
And that position is different too. Like that position favors you more in the NFL. It does.
Yeah,
with the defensive, the way they play nowadays, you can't do certain things to these guys. Whereas cornerback, it's even harder. So I just need more. I want to see more. Here's something I was thinking about as you were talking. Do you favor Patrick Surtain more than Farley because of that? Because you can see Patrick will get in your face all day.
I think Patrick Surtain is ready right now. I think that
high floor type guy. Maybe Farley has a higher ceiling.
Farley definitely has a higher ceiling. If Farley's who you think he is, because of the length, he will probably be a better pro. I've seen some things from Surtain that, corners get beat, but I don't look at him like he's Derek Stingley. Stingley to me is the cleanest prospect I've seen since Darrelle Revis.
I can't wait to next year. Is it next year he's able to come
next
out?
year?
I can't wait to talk to you next year about Stingley. I'm ignoring it. I'm ignoring it because I don't want to be thrown into 2022's draft, but I can't wait till next year to talk to you about Stingley.
Oh man, have me on the first day we do DBs. That's my guy. But it's a really good DB class.
No foots. We're not going.
Okay.
We ain't gonna do it.
No, but in all seriousness, Sky, man, this has been fun. I just think that when it comes to this team, and this is going to be my conclusion every time I talk to you, everything that I do draft-wise, don't pigeonhole yourself, fans. Don't go into that pick 10 saying they better draft this position.
It's happening.
It is.
Unfortunately. I said
What are you hearing? What are the positions you hearing that fans want, Sky?
I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole, but it's like if we don't take Pitts, the Cowboys are not going to do this, not going to do that. It has to be Pitts.
The Pitts hive is real.
Oh, dog. It's massive. And again, I'll tell you like I told everybody, I don't hate the player. Phenomenal player. But it's the game in the sense of you take Pitts. I personally think he could be a really good possession wide receiver. I don't want him to play in line. I don't want that. If you're going to draft him at 10, and I keep saying this over and over, but if you're going to draft him at 10, then he has to be your number 1 or number 2 go-to guy on offense. And correct me if I'm wrong, is Ezekiel Elliott going anywhere anytime soon? Okay. Is CeeDee Lamb going anywhere anytime soon? Is Amari Cooper going anywhere anytime soon? Okay, so
Yeah.
at best, he's your fourth option at
Option.
pick 10 for the next 2 or 3 years. I can't have that, Foots. I can't. But if I'm going to
You're
take
not
him,
wrong.
move him to receiver, flip Michael Gallup, and let's work. But I'm done. I don't want to go too far off
You
this
don't wanna
Pitts
go
thing
to that rabbit hole.
because people think I don't like Pitts. I think he's a
Yeah.
phenomenal player. I don't like the position. I don't like the game at that pick. Great player, but I don't believe the Cowboys will utilize him like that. If they plug him right in that tight end, you're talking about a position that doesn't get 100 targets in Dallas. We haven't had a guy get over 100 targets since Tony Romo. Tony Romo was here, and that was, guess who? Jason Witten. And where did the offense revolve around? Jason Witten in the passing game. I mean, you're not going to revolve the offense around Kyle Pitts anytime soon. I'll get off the high horse. Go ahead, take it away.
I just say, even like I've entertained the Pitts thing, and I think what people their rebuttal you may be offense, whatever. I actually would like them if there was an offensive player, it would be Slater.
We're on the same page, bro.
Okay, cool. We on all right, bet because I'm looking at my offensive line. Like you don't need another weapon. CeeDee Lamb is gonna be really good. Like extremely good. You got a quarterback coming off of injury. This offensive line is not like I hate when people say this offensive line is good.
Well, those
It's
are people that
okay.
don't pay attention anymore. This isn't 2016. The offensive line hasn't been that good since. Has it been good and healthy? Absolutely, but they're breaking down.
Yeah. I think that Slater makes your offensive line back to being really good because he can play anywhere on the line. He would be a better guard than Connor Williams today. So if you have issues, if everything is okay with Tyron Smith and he's going to go out on a high horse this next year, you plug him at guard and you're better. You're more physical. You're stronger. I think he's better than Sewell. And I've argued with Vach and other people. Vach agrees. We agree with that, but I've argued with people about Benny.
Jeremiah has him up there. He has him above Sewell.
Okay, bet. Because Sewell was the hot guy early, but on my eyes showed me was I just see a more physical player. Sewell has better feet, yes. His arms are longer. But I see a more physical player in Slater. And he adds attitude. I'm watching that Bucks line block dudes into the stands. I want to do something about that. Like that is physical. Like when they played the Saints, Ali Marpet was blocking the Saints linebackers. Like that stuff makes a good football team, bro. Those little things. Well, those offensive linemen that's chippy like that, bro. And so
and let's
that's
be
what
real,
Slater is.
The offensive tackle position is much more valuable than the tight end position if you're using them at tight end. And I know we do not need 5 All-Pros for Dak to be great. We don't. Like he can be a really good quarterback without 5 All-Pros. My justification for taking a tackle there would be I don't trust the health of my tackles. And so therefore, if one of those guys can't go in the sense of either retirement or they're injured again or what have you, Slater can be my franchise future left or right tackle, wherever the hell you want to put him. But in the meantime, in between time, I can have him come in right now and probably beat out Connor Williams at guard. And then what that does is it gives you depth on the offensive line. All right? Let's say Tyron is cool. Slater, Biotish, Collins, Martin. And then behind that, you got McGovern, who we saw a solid depth. Connor Williams would be solid depth.
McGovern played really well.
Yes.
Like he did some nice things.
Absolutely. But let's be real. The ceiling on Slater at guard is probably much higher than McGovern at guard.
For sure.
But McGovern, I'll feel fine with if he has to step in for Zach Martin again for whatever reason. Nonetheless, if 77 decides to hang it up, we're good. Like we're good. So
and that's a real thing. And you don't want to have to wait till you're pigeonholed to do it either.
Yeah, and you're going to pay a quarterback, Foots. You're going to pay or something. You're going to invest in a quarterback, whatever the hell it be. So if you're going to invest in your quarterback, invest in protecting his blind side.
Dog, I'll tell you this about offensive line play. I think it's the most underrated position group in the league.
It's the most
as
important.
far as it's
like quarterback. I look at quarterback as on another stratosphere. But aside from quarterback, offensive line probably your most important. People say offensive line coach is your second most important position coach on the team.
Dog, the Bucks are in the Super Bowl because they have a really good offensive line. They stonewall the Skins, bro. Like, that's a great D line. We also got to think about our division. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Our division
Philly.
has some good D lines.
That's a good point.
I would say Philly's not even the top. It's
Washington. It's for sure
You're
Washington.
Right, it's Washington. And the Giants D line isn't bad.
If
like,
they
don't
bring
have an edge guy.
But if they bring back Leonard Williams and Dalvin Tomlinson, you're talking about a solid core to build around.
Especially aided right in the middle.
In the middle.
Yeah, it's tricky. So I would draft Rashawn Slater and be very happy.
That'd be cool.
And I think he would be there. So that's kind of like, those are the two offensive guys that I hear about. You're not drafting a receiver. You're not drafting a quarterback.
What if one falls?
A receiver?
Yeah.
It's very real that Jamar Chase could be there.
If Chase is there,
I can see it, bro. You trust me. If one of these teams want to tackle, if the 2 tackles goes, I think the 4 quarterbacks are gonna go. That's 8 picks right there.
Dude, if Chase,
think about that.
That's tough.
No, that's 6. I'm sorry, that's 6. The Jets are gonna go.
Can't pass up.
The Jets are gonna go. Clemson quarterback. I would have to look at the draft order. I just been locked in at 10, but I just say that to say, Devontae Smith could fall. I mean, I don't think he'll fall. I think because of the Heisman and everything, he's fresh on everybody's mind.
I like Devontae Smith, but I feel like you got that in CD in a sense. Like they're similar. Yeah. Whereas Chase is just, I think Chase a freak, and it's hard to pass on that if he falls. I don't think he will. Nonetheless, my thing is, Foots, have a plan. If you're taking an offensive guy this year, have a plan. Don't just do it blindly.
Yeah.
Have a plan.
So. And then we got to think too. I believe that so the defense, right? Mm-hmm. That's my last point, Sky.
I know we don't want way
we went way over. But hey, man, this is what it's about.
I
bro.
love it though. Yeah.
Dan Quinn, I think, makes your defense better. So no pick that you draft is going to take your defense from, whatever was ranked to a top 10 defense. No pick, because there's going to be growing pains the whole night.
Yeah.
But I think scheme alone makes your defense better. Making things simplified, putting players back in position that they were already in is kind of more, it's simple.
Yep.
Then, so I think that Dan Quinn does that for you right now. And then you got, if you draft an offensive player at 10, you have 9 more picks in the draft.
9 more picks, tons of picks. That's the other thing we gotta try to get a hold of with Cowboys Nation. We're not advocating for or against defensive player or offensive player with this first pick just yet. We got so much time in between now. If it happens to be offense, don't panic. There's so many picks left. There's a ton of picks left, and in that top 100, I feel like you can still get some quality guys on the defensive side of the ball. Actually, pick 10 might be your biggest reach on defense. Seriously, it might be your biggest reach if you go that route. But nonetheless, like I said, if you go offense, which you'll probably have the best player on the board will probably be an offensive player, just have a plan. If it's a Slater or Sewell, have a plan. Start inside, move out. If it's a Pitts, I want to move him at wide receiver, or if I'm going to have him at tight end, he's going to be my Kelsey move guy, my Darren Waller move guy. He's not going to be my inline Blake Jarwin type dude. Well, I think pretty much, in my opinion, Blake Jarwin does exactly what you want to bring Pitts in here for anyway, which is stretch the seams and get downfield and get some yak. He's just not a freak like Pitts. He's just not a freak. And we always hear the freak stuff, right? Like, oh, my gosh, man, this guy, this O.J. Howard, this Njoku, this Ebron, all these freaks that go in the first round don't usually pan out. But nonetheless, I just have a plan and execute it, in my opinion, at a high level.
I agree, bro. So, I completely agree, man.
Man, this was awesome, bro. I appreciate you coming through, talking the Senior Bowl cats, the draft. Hell, we even went all the way and got all the way into Cowboys talk. So I appreciate that.
Man, this was fun.
Yeah,
Sky.
Absolutely. Let them know where they can find you, man, if they don't already know.
Hit me up on Twitter, me, Sky Vach. We always going through these debates. These are my guys. These debates. Hit me up on Twitter, @FootsTheKing. Hit me up on IG, @FootsTheKing. Everything is Foots the King, guys.
Except
music.
YouTube.
Except YouTube. It's Cowboys Nation TV. I know. I gotta I got to figure out how to change my name. I don't even know how to do it, but
Oh, we
anyway.
can rap. I could tell you how to do that.
Okay, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I'm not as savvy. I just press record and go.
Yeah.
I leave all that savvy stuff to my guys. So when y'all see us on ESPN, y'all will know we got it out the mud, man.
Oh,
so
boy.
anyway, Sky, thanks for having me, buddy.
Yes, sir. I'll get with you. And like I said, guys, you can find me here, Dallas Cowboys Network, on Twitter at Skywalker Still. That's where I'll be at, pretty much. So just look me up there. And yeah, let's keep this thing going, Foots. I'm gonna say around Combine. I don't know if we're gonna do a Combine. I have no clue. But around that time, let's get back into this and let's rap about what is up next, because I believe we'll have free agency in about a month or some change. So that should change some things for us for the draft. All right, let's make it.
And I have some more position rankings for you.
Okay.
I'm cleaning those up, so I might go back redo safeties. I got my DBs.
Hey,
I know we got to talk on. Yeah, sir. Okay, cool.
It's early. Don't even sweat on the rankings. We that's right now. Like that's what I tried to say last time. Those are your rankings right now. That can change over the next 3 months. So we'll do that, brother. Appreciate you, dog.